What's up, gamers? This is Damron with Trash Ass Gamers, bringing you another Elder Scrolls Online Veteran Dungeon Guide. This is for City of Ash 2. City of Ash 2 is found in Greenshade, which is obviously in the Aldmeri Dominion. This dungeon is not too bad, but it is a little lengthy. I certainly recommend you bring your vampirism down before you come in this dungeon. There is a lot of flame damage, so keep that in mind. But as all these dungeon playthroughs go, I will keep it complete. I'll fast forward through the ads to make it a little bit shorter as we're kind of just killing trash. But I will keep it complete so you know exactly where I am and how I got there. And I'll focus mainly on boss strategies or anything throughout the dungeon to point out that I think could be important. But for the most part, this dungeon is not too bad. So let's get moving through the Inner Grove, and we'll meet up at our first boss here. Alright, so our first boss is actually three bosses. As you can see here, we're going to take Rukon behind this portal. And the reason we're going to do that is because when he's behind the portal, the other two bosses' attacks actually won't hit you. So really then all you need to worry about is bringing him down, and then once we do that we can focus on the other two when the other two have ranged attacks. So Rukon will obviously do some light and heavy attacks on the tank, and he'll periodically shoot some flames out at his feet, as well as an AoE that once it reaches maximum capacity will explode for some flame damage. But again, it's not really too bad, especially if you have a healer. You're not really going to have to worry too much. So once we wipe out Rukon behind the portal, then we can come back into the playing field for Akazel and Maruz. So these guys are ranged guys. So Maruz is an arrow archer enemy, so I like to take him out first, although it doesn't really matter who you take out, honestly. Sometimes it's better just to fight whoever is closest, because these guys like to teleport around as you're fighting them. So just pick whoever's closest and focus on them. So Akazel is more of a mage. He will fire some flame fireballs at you that can travel across the map, but he doesn't particularly do too much damage. The main one that we took out in the beginning, he's going to do the most damage. These are more kind of supportive to him, so once you take him out, the rest of the fight is really simple. They're just humanoid. He's got a fire attack AoE, and the other guy's going to light attack some arrows. So wipe both of them up, and I'll meet you at the next boss. Alright, so next up on the docket is Urad of the Legion. She's not too bad either. She'll fire basically 3 balls of flames out from her staff that will create an AoE on the ground that will be burning flame damage, and you kind of want to stay out of that, obviously, but even if you feel some dire need to stand inside of it, it doesn't really cause too much damage, and a decent healer will heal you through it, of course. Now throughout the fight she will spawn ads, and the ads are the basis of her charged attack, which you saw her raise her arms up there and actually do nothing, and that's because all the ads were dead. If the ads are alive when she does that attack, which you're seeing her do here, the number of ads will determine the power of that attack. So as she's spawning ads in, you want to kill them. The best way to do that is just to stack them on top of her and just continue to lay down the damage. She doesn't have too much health. You'll clean her up, no problem. So let's get moving. Alright, so when you get to this bridge, you definitely just want to run across it. The reason is because some Dremorel Kynals will continue to spawn until you have reached the end of the bridge. So if you're fighting your way through, then more enemies will just keep spawning and keep running to where you're at on the bridge. So it's better to just run all the way through and then have all the ads stack up on you here at the end of the bridge and just stack them up and burn them down. And that'll bring us to our next boss coming up here after we grab this chest. This boss used to give people a lot of problems, Horvanta the Fire Maul. This is a real DPS race. And now, as long as you have a good DPS, this fight shouldn't give you too much problems. But the longer that this fight takes, the more ads that are going to spawn in. And the more ads that spawn in, the more trouble you're going to have. Because he does spawn them in quite frequently. And if you take too long, you can really be swarmed with ads pretty fast. Now he does do a conical flame attack in front of him, and that obviously is something that can cause damage you want to stay out of. And then another mechanic that he'll do is he'll start stomping the ground and create basically an AoE attack around him that will cause continuous damage when you're inside it. Now if you're fast enough, which you'll see here, you will never see that mechanic. As long as you take him out quickly, you won't have to worry about the ads. But keep in mind, the longer that you take, the more ads that are going to spawn in and the more trouble that you're going to have. And the last thing that you want to do is focus on ads. If you start focusing on ads and stop your DPS on the Fire Maul, you could get into trouble. Just maintain DPS on him and wipe him up. Now there is a shortcut up here. You could kind of walk across the lava. I'm sure there's some videos up for that. But as y'all know, I'm a no survivors kind of guy, so we're going to clean up these guys as we're moving up to our next boss. Unfortunately, our homeboy right here is going to bite one for the team as the Ash Titan lands right on top of him, our next boss. The Ash Titan does put some fire AoEs on the ground. Again, lots of fire damage in this dungeon, so bring your vampirism down. Now those AoEs typically don't last too long and they will dissipate after a while, but again, he'll continue to lay those down. Another attack that he'll do that you saw there is he'll kind of put his head down and start launching these wave flames throughout the map. So just kind of dodge those as they're coming at you. And then once you get him around 70% health, he'll spawn an air Atronach. What you want the tank to do is to run into this corner of the map, and once the air Atronach hits the lava chasing the tank, he will just instantly die. And that's a good way to get rid of them. And I'll show you that again when the next Atronach spawns, which happens around 35 to 40%. Now, the Ash Titan's heavy and light attacks aren't anything that the tank really needs to worry about. Just keep the aggro off the DPS, and DPS kind of stay behind him. So here you're going to see this air Atronach go into the lava, boom, gone. So if that tank goes over there into that corner, when those air Atronachs hit the lava, they're done. So that's basically it for this fight. You can really clean this up easily with these strategies. Alright, so once we get to this point in the dungeon, we'll have to go to the left and to the right side and kill a few waves of enemies in order to form the bridge that leads to the final boss. And as the waves of enemies go down on each side, you're going to see the light on this tower dissipate until it gets all the way to the bottom, on the bottom rung, and then a little mini boss will spawn on each side. So we'll talk about the mini bosses just briefly because they don't really pose you too much threat. But again, just make sure you're going up on each side and wait for the mini bosses. So this one is Zivile Voltaik. Again, this is just kind of a human type Dramora enemy, I should say. And they don't really cause too much damage. They're kind of both on this same on both sides. This guy has these lightning attacks that'll bolt down and hit a random player, as well as a lightning AoE that'll explode, and he'll spawn in some storm Atronachs to come help him. But just keep your AoEs and focus on the boss. Once he dies, the Atronachs will instantly die. You don't actually need to focus on them at all. So we'll go to the other side and do the same exact thing, and a similar mini boss will spawn. Same mechanics, just burn him down, have the tank hold on, and then we'll cross the bridge and we'll talk about the final boss. So this guy's name is Zivile Fulminator. Does the same attacks as the other guy though. Again, he's just going to fire some lightning attacks out of the ground, spawn in some storm Atronachs, as well as do an AoE around his feet every once in a while. None of these are going to cause you really any threat damage wise, so just keep up the damage on him, and you'll clean him up soon enough, and we'll be on our way. Alright, so we're going to read our scroll, which is in the upper right hand part of the map, and you're going to see that upper right platform explode. So hard mode, you're only going to have 3 platforms to be on, as the boss will essentially blow them up at times during the fight, so your area without lava gets smaller and smaller. Now Valken Scoria doesn't particularly have too many direct attacks that you need to worry about, but he will knock you down, and you'll see that. And if you're too close to the edge, he can knock you into the lava, and before you get back up, you may die from the lava, which is what happens to me right here, unfortunately. So another thing that you need to know is he basically shoots flames out from his feet in random directions. Now those aren't particularly going to cause you too much trouble just by getting hit by one, but if you're really not paying attention and you're just running from flame to flame, of course that can eventually kill you, but your healer should be able to heal you through that. So once you take him down a little bit, he will blow up that platform and come to the middle platform and spawn a couple Flam Atronachs with him. Now you don't really need to worry too much about them, just continue to focus on the boss. They'll eventually get close enough that your AoE should take them down. Now he does have a pretty big heavy swing, so tank, make sure you're blocking that, as well as just a flame attack that he will shoot out from his hand. Now if the tank loses aggro and that shot is coming at you, you'll see him charge it up. Be sure you dodge roll that, because that can really cause significant damage if you're a low health kind of DPS character. And again, once he takes a good amount of damage, you can actually kill him in 2 platforms, which we probably would have done had I not died, but we didn't. So once he takes enough damage or enough time goes by, he'll blow up that middle platform, and then you're going to want to go to this platform, which is the last platform available to stand on in hard mode without being in a smaller area of the map. So once you get to this point, he will throw his sword up into the sky and just shoot balls of flames down at the players. You see that? That was that attack I was talking about, the charged up flames. See how it knocked me down? If you get that aggro, be sure to dodge roll it, because again, if that knocks you into the lava, you will die. So if you are playing hard mode and you find it difficult to kill him in 3 platforms, this is where you want to go after the third platform. If he blows up that platform, just come to this thin little area and you should be able to finish him off if you're getting to that point. So the monster set that comes out of City of Ash 2 is going to be the Valkynscorius set. It's going to give you increased health, and then also when you deal damage with a AoE attack, you have an 8% chance to summon a meteor that does additional flame damage to that enemy and all other enemies in the area. So it's not too bad. Some people use it. So I hope you found this helpful, and if you guys like this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.